Is it possible to say more about the solution to the problem of the family system where one is either compliant or oppositional in response to an unloving parenting environment? And there's a lot of detail here that I think it's not really appropriate for me to read about this person's life. But I will just say that as soon as you realize you are not the character and you are the unborn presence, then you no longer have to be a part of the family system. You are not in the family system anymore. You neither have to rebel against it nor comply with it. It's unreal. And so you are just simply free from relating to that as if it has some ability to impinge upon your freedom. It doesn't. And as soon as you know that, it's gone, because it was only a fantasy construct in your own mind. So freedom is your true nature. Is it possible to wake up without it becoming a nightmare? Yes. I mean, I'm trying to encourage people, do not wait until your life becomes a nightmare. Wake up while it's still a beautiful experience. But the problem is that as long as the ego is enjoying its life as a character, it has no interest in liberation from the character. But if you can see that the future may not always be like the present, and you may not always get the goodies that you may now be getting out of your good karma from the past, then you will want to say, no, let me get out while the getting is good and not wait for it to go bad. It's much easier to get out when you've got the luxury to sit and meditate in a comfortable environment than to do it as some refugee running from Nazi stormtroopers or whatever, you know. So make sure that that you realize that this is the highest good that you can achieve in life, and that the greatness of your character will be able to be actualized when you realize you are not the character. That's what gives you the freedom to transform the character into its archetypal beauty and nobility and greatness of genius. That's when the daimon that the Greeks talked about becomes the operating system, and your genius is fully awakened, and you are able to create the works of art that you only hoped you could do in the ego and could never actually achieve because of conflicting drives. Once there's no internal conflict and the inspiration is moving without resistance, you will do miracles in the world. So this is the key to success. Okay, talking of the love for God, I can feel the love for humans, but how can I turn that into love of God? Well, when you love a human, you are projecting the aspect of God that you have not accepted in yourself into them. And by wanting their love for you to fill you with that which you lack. But you are creating this. It's your own fantasy of receiving from another what you haven't allowed yourself to recognize that you yourself already possess. So it is this recognition that whatever you adore, whether it's a newborn baby that's very easy to adore, or it's someone else that you've fallen in love with, or you have some imaginary idolization, some movie star or whatever it might be, there's a projection of that divine nature into that character. But just feel the adoration itself, because that is the love, not for God, but that is God as love that you are manifesting. And don't have adoration for an object, but separate the object and just feel the adoration, and then separate it also from the subject, so that all that remains is a field of pure adoration. Not someone who adores and not someone who is adored, just the adoration itself. And that is the real. Okay, I hope that's useful. Okay. Sometimes I find myself drawn back out of the gate due to my attachment to a desire to harmonize with and love others. But when I'm drawn out, it seems as if my character has taken some action that has created some karma, and I experience this as being the dissonance that results from interactions with others. Should I make an effort to harmonize whatever situation I've come to create, or simply acknowledge it as part of the karmic illusion? So, yes, again, it's the same question, that harmony comes from disidentification and from recognizing the non-duality of self and other, so that there is no projection, there is no need to receive positive feedback from the other, there's no need to take in negative feedback. There is an ability to remain in a neutral state of the observer, the witness, not identified with the character, and wanting nothing from the other, and accepting the other's disharmonious actions, but seeing them as part of the perfection of the unfoldment of the drama. And then everything will magically change when you are no longer taking the bait that the other is luring you in with, to either get angry at them or to want to comply with them or whatever. And once you stop playing the game stops appearing in your dream field. Okay. I think I've answered. This is a very long question. I'm trying to get to the core of it. Should I expect that I won't cause any perceived suffering in others when I'm operating from the true center in my supreme self? Yes, of course. You never cause suffering anyway. No one ever causes another to suffer. Suffering is a choice. And everyone has the option to choose not to suffer or to suffer over whatever happens. So you cannot cause suffering, and you cannot either cause happiness. Everyone has the freedom and the sovereignty to choose that as their own dream in whatever way they prefer. But if they are following the script of the character, then what will unfold will simply be a repetition of the patterns that the character has made its signature of identity. Is it necessary for one to flee their job, study in town, because any of those will inevitably bring melodramatic, ego-based experiences, especially when one's frequency is different? No, it's not necessary to do anything but to flee identification from the character. Okay? And then the character will be guided by that supreme intelligence that we call the Tao to do whatever is most optimal in its situation to bring about blessings through the bodhisattvic intention of compassion and of seeing the perfection in all. And so it will no longer matter what one's character does. Whatever it is will be accurate, but there is no general answer to should I leave, should I stay. That's going to be different in every case, and it will always be a matter of one's freedom from one's karma. So then the second part of that question, will we be protected amidst the chaos through virtuous living and the 48 minutes of stillness of mind? Or have we been sealed in our foreheads already as prophesied in the Bible revelations? Will there be a great solar flash that will cause all to appear in a different light? Well, we'll be protected, but that doesn't mean our bodies will be protected. But you will be protected from suffering through identification with the body. And you won't care if it's incinerated in a nuclear conflagration or starves in a food shortage. You'll be able to endure that as a part of the rite of passage of the character without being enmeshed in the character's subjective feeling states, which will then be able to be filled with the Shakti of divine love that will act as a kind of an anesthetic that will change the suffering into a state of acceptance and peace, regardless of what happens. And one will already be in a kind of presence to the God self that transcends this plane, and what happens in this plane will become so unreal, so insubstantial, that like a movie that you've lost interest in, whatever happens to the characters is not as important as the popcorn that you're eating. And once you're eating God's popcorn, you won't care that the characters are eating gruel of some kind that's not very delicious. So that's the way out of this. And it is real protection, and it is deathlessness, and it is sealed in our foreheads in the sense that this is where the third eye lights up, and so that prophecy has truth as well. It won't be a solar flash, but it will be a flash of the lightning bolt of the divine Vajra that will break apart the belief in the world and make the realm of light that we are actually in completely visible. And the world will be washed out in the light. Last question. Thank God it's the last question. Let's see. This question is around the passing of my father. He received palliative care. His passing was heavily supported by Western pain management drugs. I have many mixed feelings around this and find it difficult to reconcile within. Well, those drugs actually at the end of life, when someone is in extreme pain, they are merciful. And what happens is that a person generally will go into a state, not out of body, but out of ego mind, and they will be at least partially in the light, even while the body is still alive, and enjoying a kind of near-death experience in the sense of being present to angels and to the light of God, and they will not be suffering. And even though the body will seem to have lost consciousness, the soul's consciousness will actually be enhanced and expanded and fully awakened. So it's nothing to feel bad about. And like everything else, it's perfect, and it's the way that was chosen in the dream by that soul to make the exit. And it's not a bad way to go if it has alleviated the pain of the character's vehicle. So have no negative feelings about it, because there's no validity or objective reason to feel bad about that. There are many worse ways to exit the world, and if one does that in a state in which one is able to slide out of the ego into the soul and achieve a kind of videha mukti. We could say it's liberation in that kumbhaka, that border between life and death, in which the opening to the infinite is present even while the character is still breathing. Then that's a beautiful way to egress.